The story of George Thomson is most certainly the source of much fascination. He was showered in wealth and privilege. All of his life he never knew need and wanted for nothing. As his cousin, separated by 4 degrees, I remember the many blissful summer days that we spent together. I knew of George's traits well. He was athletic, artistic, considerate, and even a little cunning. However, George did possess a certain different trait. He would temporarily lose consciousness. Countless pounds were poured into doctor's appointments, but the answer was still the same. Not one doctor knew what troubled the boy. All they could recommend was that someone should always stand by George, for obvious reasons. Eventually, the family believed that George was a delinquent and a shame to the family. He was rarely mentioned, and if he was, the information was kind, but extremely sparse. However, I realized this wasn't a case of a delinquent child. As I soon discovered, George was a highly gifted individual. Whenever an episode occurred, he simply slept, then woke up, and life went on again. Eventually, that wasn't the only thing I discovered. Of course, we had always had a close friendship, but it soon turned into something more. I suppose after growing up together, proximity took over. Unfortunately, not everyone was as thrilled as we were.
Ellie, are you out of your mind?
I cannot believe how foolishly you're acting about all of this.
You're the one who's acting foolish. A woman chooses the man the same way she chooses the jewels to which she adorns herself with. The more rare and valuable, the more valuable she becomes. The more dull, common, unpolished.
The more you become like a commoner. You've only been telling me ever since I started seeing suitors.
And still you have not learned.
I do not see what this has to do with George.
It has everything to do with George. There you are.
You sent for me?
You sent for him?
My darling sister, I forgot. I've been meaning to speak with you both. As our Thomson family self-elected event coordinator, I have taken it upon myself to take this delightful engagement as a cause for celebration.
Nora.
Don't worry, I have taken the liberty and invited the whole Thomson family for a party on the 15th of July in your honor.
A party?
The 15th? Why, that's only a few weeks away.
No time like the present.
No, you've never thrown a party for me before.
But you've never been engaged before, silly.
Are you really sure you want to do this? I mean, it is an honor, but is it all really necessary?
It is my greatest duty as event planner, but also as a caring, nurturing older sister. Everyone will be there and everyone will see the lovely couple. Goodbye.
It was a nasty plan. George couldn't go more than a few hours without having an episode. My sister's parties were known to go well into the night at times. However, in times like these, George always had one person to turn to. Mr. Alfred Winston was George's tutor, and was hired to assure that the boy would have a comprehensive education while still remaining out of the public eye. In the years that followed, Mr. Winston became an intricate part of George's life.
Oh, thank God you could come.
Really, don't worry about it. I love a good challenge.
Oh, we surely have one.
I need to get through Nora's ridiculous party without destroying the Thomson name.
That's it?
I know it's a lot to ask.
No, on the contrary, it's quite simple. Let me just stand right there. I'll take a measurement for you. The toe to the knee to
What
slight
exactly did
difference.
you have in mind?
Well, weren't you two taught that at one point everything that goes up must eventually come down? I am going to do the unthinkable and disprove it.
How?
Dear George's condition is such that it prevents his skeleton from doing its job. Since his mind goes to sleep, and the skeleton is controlled by the mind, his skeleton goes to rest for that short period. I need to create a new skeleton.
And how exactly will you do that?
Don't fret, dear boy. It's a painless process, highly efficient, and I've been developing a new material through my own personal research that will fit perfectly with this situation. I call it Velcro.
Velcro? What
A
exactly?
tightly woven material on one side, a tacky material on the other. I can use this to create a new skeleton, and then you can walk about and even take your little rest without even causing a scene.
Brilliant!
But are you sure it will work?
I'm sure. And then all you would have to worry about is having a good time at your party.
He has to be here. He just has to.
Of course he will. Here. He can't be much longer.
Look at me. Oh dear. Not a moment too soon.
Sorry.
Come on. Get those on under here. Very good. Put this over here. Very good. Excellent. Now that's secured. George Thomson, are you ready to take your first steps?
George,
I'm all right. It's just, I probably need some time to break them in, I'm sure.
Yes, of course, my dear boy. Come now, you can't keep your guest waiting.
Oh, Ellie, darling. My, how mature you've become.
Oh, Lady Annabelle, I am by no means my sister.
Nora?
That is my name.
Nora Thomson? Are you sure you're not Ellie?
Quite sure.
Well, if it isn't George Thomson, the Thomson family's best-kept secret, eh?
Hello, sir. I do not believe we've met before.
Sir Patrickson, forgive me, a seventh cousin, twice removed. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. And you too, my lady.
likewise.
Elisa!
I do not mean to be rude, but I must go.
Ellie, how is everything?
Oh, wonderful, you outdid yourself once again.
And how is George liking it?
Oh, he's having a grand time. Thank you.
Oh, Ellie! Oh, words cannot express how happy I am for you in this moment.
Oh, why, thank you very much. You're so kind.
Now, I never even thought of entering the textile business. That was the Lady Patrickson. Turns out a woman can have a good odd idea after all.
Yes, that is something.
Oh, now, Mr. Thomson, are you all right?
More than fine, sir. Just a little bit.
Do you need to sit
No,
down?
I'm just gonna go walk it off a little bit. It was very nice to meet you, Sir
yes,
Patrickson.
the pleasure was mine, Mr. Thomson. Misshapen foot. That must be the Thomson secret.
Congratulations, George.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm well known for my hugs. Enjoy the party.
Like what?
Good evening,
Evening, lady. Oh my, you didn't happen to drop an earring or anything, did you?
No, I did not.
Oh, how strange. I could have swore I saw something shiny. Well, enjoy the party. Oh, good evening, Lady Patrickson. It's so good to see you. Hello, good evening, good evening. Ellie,
George, what is going on?
poor Mr. Winston can do a lot. This brace is ingenious, but it's not finished yet. It's too tight. I can't feel my feet.
We really were in a pinch. I knew I should have asked him to loosen it more.
It doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is getting through this evening.
Ah, there you two are. I found you. Have you been hiding all night? We have guests, haven't you noticed?
I do apologize, Nora.
Well, if you were to join us for dinner, I'd love to prepare a toast for the lovely couple.
We'll be right there.
Are you sure about this?
I don't have time to be sure about anything anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you all right?
Could not be better.
Settle down, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to propose a toast to the beautiful couple and their beautiful love.
George.
Alcoholism. That must be the Thomson secret.
Come along now, Ellie.
No.
What's done is done. There's no use here anymore.
Oh, no, wait. Just a moment.
Nora, stop. Let him speak.
It's obvious to me that my behavior tonight has been unacceptable, and for that, I must apologize. But before you all judge me, I must ask you a question. Is there nothing about yourselves that you would wish to change? What you have just witnessed is exactly the same for me.
I knew it. I knew something was up. What was it? 2 left feet? Alcoholism? Or brain-killing pathogens?
No, none of those. When I was a boy, I would fall asleep, no matter where I was. The doctors couldn't fix it. My parents thought it was because I was stupid. They would always ask me, what kind of a boy can't even keep himself awake? They told me what a disgrace a boy like that would be. But as the years have gone by, I've come to realize that losing consciousness every once in a while does not matter in the grand scheme of things. I could play instruments and games and study everything about every subject. I even found someone who was willing to deal with what problems this condition can cause. But despite that, I've let myself be manipulated and wear this brace that obviously hasn't worked like it's supposed to. But really, I should have never been so foolish in the first place to let fear and doubt impair my better judgment. And so I ask you, is this one trait truly so terrible? We must all rest. I just happen to need more of it, for whatever reason. I'm ready to care for Thomson Manor when the time arrives. I thank you for coming and hope you are not too disappointed.
Cheers to George Thomson.
Cheers to George Thomson.
And that is the story of George Thomson. Of course, it was a source of much fascination. As my darling sister soon learned, the love that George and I shared was more valuable than any adornments of gold. For years to come, this story would still be remembered. But for now, it was time to dance and be merry.
Me and the